Bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum.
Freedom Renegade Radio. Freedom Renegade Radio podcast, Holistic Meditation, MC Monkey D, and Funk Master Fletch all the way in the back. Let's go.
The front back.
All right, I know you told me not to bring this up until we got to the podcast, but I wanted to ask you, what's the eagle story? You said, I'm not telling you till the podcast. Tell me the eagle story.
The eagle story is the story of not, it's like a analogy towards not minding people saying shit, basically.
Like not caring what people
like
think?
Like preaching to you.
Okay, what's the story?
And so the story is of an eagle. When eagles fly, ravens will fly, and they'll get on their back, and they'll peck at them.
The raven jumps on the back of the
eagle
eagle?
will fly, and the raven will soar above it, and it'll land on its back, and it'll peck at it, and the eagle doesn't mind it. It just keeps flying, and it keeps ascending. And when it ascends, it keeps ascending to the point that the raven can't breathe, and the raven eventually falls off its back. So the point of it is to be like the eagle and keep ascending in life, you know.
Is this a real thing that happens in actuality, or is this like a parable of some sort?
This is real life, yeah.
Oh, really?
It happens, yeah.
Interesting, okay.
I was surprised when I heard it. I was like, oh, that's a cool podcast story.
Okay, damn. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. Did you hear that story that, what's the fighter's name with the cornrows? T-City? He told about the eagle?
Oh, yeah.
About the beak? I
I've
can't
heard
remember
it before that, too.
I've never heard. Do you remember it? Because I don't remember the story
I know
perfectly.
the story.
Did you hear it by chance?
I saw it with Khabib, and I heard it's all bullshit.
About the shaving its beak?
Interesting. I
Okay.
think I've heard it's real because I heard it before that too. But the story is that the eagle lives like 40 years. I can't remember. I think they have a lifespan of like 70 years, and they'll live like 40 years, and they need to
resharpen their beak.
They have like a rebirthing process. So they will go to a really high place and smash their fucking beak on a rock. And break their beak and let their beak grow back, and then they'll pluck all their feathers and rip their talons out and let them grow back. And then if they can do that, then they'll live another 30 years, and have a strong beak.
That's what he said.
And they'll have everything, renewed. But if they don't, then they die at 40.
It's like a metaphor for if you don't change, you die.
It's rebirth.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, damn. Okay.
I think everything goes through that type of process. Spirit. And I think humans. I would imagine animals go through in their own sense, but humans are more in tune with the spiritual, so they go through more of a spiritual rebirth during our lifetimes. I would imagine
that old saying of like the only constant is change is like, it really is not even just a metaphor, like the way of life. If you're not constantly, like life is naturally changing. If you're not changing with it, the moment you stop, and that's why when you look at like old people, like sometimes I look at Dad and I look at most people that like they trap themselves around like 14, 15, they just stop changing. They're looking for so much comfort that like the fruits of life are never harvested because they don't change. Like if you literally die the moment that you give up on the attitude of like, I'm going to change. If you just sit in the past the whole time, then you're not living. And that's what I feel like that's what keeps us a little bit vibrant is like, and what changed our TikTok career and our music career is like, okay, this wasn't working, pivot to this. This wasn't working, pivot to this. And we ended up in the live. Because initially we were just crushing it with videos, rapping in the car, and then that stopped working. We had to switch to like, you know what, dude? One day I just came in here like, let's do the live. So we started doing that, and then we really started making money. Like if you're not changing, you really are dying, and there really is something to that.
Yep. Andre 3000 says in one of his tracks, I can't remember what the song is, but he says you're only as good as your last cut. It applies to that. And I was going to say a similar thing about TikTok, but I was going to apply it to something different. But right now we have a pocket that we can go to that we're comfortable with, but we have to be prepared for that change because it will come again.
Yeah,
and there will never not be a time where we don't have to continually pivot and continually do this dance of life and and apply that to our business and music too.
Dude,
you
I
know?
saw Gary Vee talking about it too. He's like, "Oh yeah, TikTok's gonna die," and it's actually the same thing we talked about. Like, if it dies, we pivot. Whatever, we'll find another way. But Gary Vee is like, "Oh, a lot of people are gonna lose 2 million followers." He's like, "You did it once, but a lot of people will just give up after that. They're not gonna have the attitude of like, wherever it goes, I'll build another 2 million and whatever that is, because you know what it takes to get that high. It's a lot of effort, dude.
It's like building a business, but if you did it once, then you could do it again, and you could do it easier because you know how.
Yeah."
You have all those tools. We talked about it on the Queens podcast, and you have all the tools. We have all those tools necessary. I feel way confident about going into it or transitioning to something else. And everything has its time. Facebook in early 2000s had its time. In 2010, it was like fucking Facebook City. And then it went to Instagram. Now it's TikTok. It'll change to something else, whether it's because of this ban or if it's because it's just played out.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line it'll change, and I'll be ready to change with it. Because these things like this conversation bring it to the forefront.
Yeah, we were late to like getting on into like the social media game.
I wish we would have got on TikTok like a year and a half prior.
Even though we didn't, though, like what I'm saying is we have a fresh energy with it right now because we missed so much of like Facebook. Like when we first started, we thought, oh, we'll just put music out, put it on YouTube, and maybe it'll blow up. But obviously, none of that worked until we got onto TikTok. But we're so fresh into it of like, oh, that's how you do it? This is all you got to do? Like now we're already moving into the place where we're going to turn all of our actual songs into a bunch of mini music videos, reels. And we have a freshness. We're like excited because we see a path to like, support ourselves financially making music. So it's kind of fresh to us, like all the other people, a lot of people that haven't felt the growth of it, they don't understand like how accessible it really is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's accessible for, even if you make average ass music, a good video, even people that make shitty music get 20 million views because it's shitty. People are like, look at this shit. They send it to all their friends and it blows up and they're making a shitload of money. You don't have to be that good.
If it's more than a minute, you can make a lot of money with a video like that too.
Yeah.
If it goes to 20 million fucking views, you make a shitload of money on platforms like TikTok, because it's not just the live that creators are making money off of right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have a weird. I've been saving videos and shit, but they have other avenues too, and one of them is that longer than 1 minute content.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying people I think we get like 60 cents per minute.
Yeah, 66.
It varies per creator, which is weird to me. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I remember you pulled it up for us. It was 66.
It's been as high as 82. It has something to do with retention and how much people are interacting with the video through that minute. So yeah, so you understand what I'm saying. We've had almost all of the videos we made before he went to jail are like 50
seconds.
fucking 6 seconds. So we were 4 seconds short on being able to make, on the ones that have gone to millions, we would have made like 10 grand.
58.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're like 4 seconds short. Yeah,
but it's okay because we know.
We didn't know at the time.
These are things. This is trial and error.
Yeah,
and we're figuring it out as we go. So and we'll focus more in on for us our own shit. We're gonna focus more in on that. Getting that retention of minute videos over that minute time and getting that money, plus the TikTok shop shit with our own merch plus other merch. If we start hitting those videos good, we could really make a lot of money in a lot of different places.
Yeah. Most importantly,
not to mention the live shows and merch sells at live shows. And sells on our own shit or our live.
Yeah.
Our live is unique too. So I think it brings something nice to the table too, and the battle. What we're doing with the battles on top of it right now, it's fun.
That's kind of changed the way we make money.
Yeah, it's fun. It changes the excitement level and the interaction level for people. It gives them one more layer of engagement.
Mm-hmm. We've made 2 good connections too, as far multiples, but as far as like battling with Josh, like the dude's just a fucking an upstanding citizen. You can tell he's just a good person in his life. He's positive. He was promoting our sweaters. Like, oh, those guys, if you like their sweaters on his own live, go over to their channel and buy them. He's throwing roses in our channel, trying to help us get the doubles and shit.
Yeah, I know. Him and that other girl. I think as we continue to do those more battles with more people, we'll just create more of a network.
Yeah.
that people that will be like, oh, it's Josh, it's Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, we'll take those battles and it'll just add to our live. You know, and people that we fuck with basically, but our audience will be like, oh, I like this. It's like watching a different Marvel characters interact almost. You know,
Yeah, it kind of
you
is,
know, when
huh?
you're like when you're like watching a cartoon like that, like Batman, and he's fighting the Joker. Or if he's fighting one villain or another villain, you're like sometimes when I would watch that shit, I'd be like, oh, I'm bored by a villain that they're fighting, or less engaged, and that it would kind of pique that same interest for an audience in the same regard.
Yeah, I feel that actually. It's interesting what TikTok is. It's like mini TV stations. Live is like mini TV stations.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy the way that the world has shifted, man, and the way that the change shit
So much
happens.
better.
You know, it just fucking ebbs and flows, and then one day you look around and you're like, oh, these are like new celebrities. You know, TikTokers are in kids' eyes. If you see like a famous TikToker, if some people see them, like Sketch right now, that dude, if people see him, they like run up to him, take photos and shit. He's like a legit celebrity.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Carly's cousin Katie has a daughter that's like, I don't know, like 11. And when I'd met her many times, and then once we got on TikTok, she watches it all the time. The last time I saw her, she was giddy and nervous. Like, to them, it's what it was when like someone was on TV to us when we were kids, you know, like their perspective to them, this is like what it is. It's like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the TV show when we were kids, like, oh, Denzel Washington. But to these people that all they do is watch us, it has the same effect to them. It's really weird because to us, we're just like normal people. We're like, we're just fucking fuck arounds, you know, but to them, they're like, oh my God, the rappers. It's funny to see the way perception shifts, even of people like Carly's neighbor. Before he even had I'd met him like 4 or 5 times. He was just like cold to me, just didn't give a fuck, was a dickhead. Then one of our videos blew up and he ran into it on TikTok. Since then he tried to be my best friend all the time, like, oh, hey man, I saw you on TikTok, how you doing today? It's funny how simply by an image changing in their mind, they change the way they interact with you, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild.
I think that's just perception, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think on one hand, people just think you're a regular person, like whatever. But it just shows character too. You know, when people treat people good, no matter what.
Yeah,
that's always a nice thing. And when they do it prior to that, you're like, oh, this guy doesn't treat me any different now.
Yeah, I was listening to Satguru talk about that recently. He said what an effort it's been in his life to allow people to change every time he meets them and not judge them, particularly on the past things that have happened. You know, like, because everybody does, there's pivotal moments in every person's life where you completely become a new person. Hopefully you go through, sometimes it's traumatizing experiences, sometimes it's really good experiences, sometimes you just develop compassion in weird ways, but a lot of times it's the darkness that brings a little compassion out of you. But him particularly, like trying to give every human being, every time he meets them, the opportunity to be a brand new fresh person is like, it's really hard, because people that hurt you, you don't want to give them that chance when you meet them. You know, after a while you're like, okay, that's enough of this, I've had enough of you acting this way. But also, you know, you can't live. I feel like there's also a part of that. It's like sometimes you just got to leave people in the fucking past.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, DMX, there's a DMX clip that says trust people to be who they are.
Yeah.
You know, let them be who they are.
Yeah.
Basically. I could be butchering it a little bit, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with letting people just be who they are, but read the signs too. Like when people are crossing boundaries that are important to you, then fuck it. You know, especially if they're not in your life. I mean, I'm kind of at that place where if people aren't in my life, then I'm not gonna, just because of the shit I've had to go through the last few years. Too interested in making connections with shit when I see a bunch of red flags. You know, I'm like, when before I'm like especially like with women, I'm like, before I know, I might have dug into that, just chasing ass.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, fuck that, I'm good.
You know, you can always tell with like, for me, somebody you can feel their willingness to change and apologize when they make a mistake. That means the fucking world to me. When somebody can actually, that willingness is like obvious in a relationship with somebody. And sometimes you're just like this, you know, this person is not going to make the effort to be to accept responsibility for their mistakes, and so you can actually develop a foundation of any kind of relationship. So it's like, yeah, you want to let them be fresh, but also you're like, this person has no intention of changing.
Right. I've had that happen in the past. I won't go into the details of the situation, but where a person I was pretty pissed, and I told them, I'm like, yo, fuck you.
Yeah.
And they ended up taking like accountability for it. At first, they were like trying to shift out of it. Yeah,
I remember this.
You might know what I'm talking
I
about.
do.
But they're trying to shift out of it a little bit. But then they started to take accountability for it, and we just took care of it right there. You know,
It takes a lot of courage
and
to tell them
for
too.
For me, I'm the type of person that where it can give a rebirth to the situation. You know. And renew a whole foundation of relationship, and I have a good relationship with that individual now.
Yeah,
and still carried on a good one from that moment, and don't harbor any ill,
no
feelings.
resentment.
Yeah, no resentment at all. You know,
because they accepted it and made a change.
because they took that accountability, and because I'm just the type where I'm like, okay, you know what? If you're gonna do that, then I give you a hug right now and say, you know what? It's cool. I
It
appreciate
took a lot
that.
of courage for you to say it too, though, to bring it up, to give them
I
the
was
opportunity
pissed.
to change.
I'm that type, though. I'm that way.
It's because you can't walk through the day pretending. That's why. You're like,
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
going
gonna
to
say
walk
it.
through and act like that.
I know.
I'm not mad at you.
As soon as I
you
saw
know?
him, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was pissed, dude.
Yeah. There was two sides to that story. But
Yeah, there was. There definitely was. But either way, I think you might know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But either way, yeah, I appreciate accountability when people give it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do. And I think a lot of people are damaged and just are looking for like waiting for someone, a father, a mother, a sibling, a friend, a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, to give that accountability for whatever someone else felt like was a mistake,
Yeah.
or was done wrong. And if it's not given, then it's like people wait their whole lives for it,
Yeah.
like a girl with daddy issues and shit, just piles up. It's like just waiting, it never comes, never fucking comes. It's just this fucking internal turmoil and damage. It's crazy.
Yeah. There is kind of a
It
relationship.
just
with
creates
that.
this like itch you can't scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doubling back on, like, I was just thinking about Josh. It's funny that he doesn't even play shows. Like, he doesn't perform out in Vegas. Like, I mean,
I think a lot of these guys don't.
I know you don't need
They're
to.
they're on
Why would
TikTok.
you? You don't have to leave your house.
I think they just got into it in a different way than us.
Yeah.
They're like, you could consider them TikTok rappers. We're like all around rappers. We do the studio
Every
shit.
part.
We do studio rapping in terms of like albums. We do studio rapping in terms of like TikTok. We do street rapping in terms of like live shows. And I busk. I haven't done it for a while, but we do it all, dude.
Yeah.
We got into it in a different way too. We just hit this with the format of pivoting and being like, you know what, fuck it, let's try this.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
Yeah.
Doing our podcast again.
Shows are the most fun. Live shows are the most fun to just get on stage and have a whole crowd rocking with you. But man, there's nothing like playing a show for like 5 people and putting your heart and soul into it. But it's not. It just doesn't feel like it's paying off. And we've played so many shows.
And
with
that's just
5
the
people
reality.
in the crowd.
That's just the reality of it,
Yeah,
And
they
you have
putting in your dues.
you have to recognize that at some point, like this isn't fucking working.
Yeah.
And we knew that for a long time. It was just like care and grit.
Yeah.
And sheer determination of being like, let's try this, and loving sheer love for what we do.
Yeah.
That has brought us to where we're at, and will continue to carry us wherever we go.
Yeah.
But those fucking live shows, sometimes they're just not paying off nowadays. The internet exists. Why utilize it? I really think urge people that are watching this to utilize the tools that are at hand for you. And the internet is your biggest tool. You can
it
reach
really
the entire world from your living room.
Even for us to date right now, until this Mexico show, we've had days on TikTok we made more money in like a couple hours than we've got paid for even the Hash Bash show. Like, we've had days that were well above that just rapping on TikTok. We haven't even got to the point in our career where we're getting paid more than we do on TikTok in a year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the shows we've thrown, the biggest day we've had on TikTok and the shows we've thrown are equal. Like I think it's pretty much exactly the same. I don't want to go into numbers.
I know which one. You're talking about the Reef that one time?
I can't. I think that.
With
that,
merch sales, it probably was equal to our biggest day on TikTok.
I think that they're about the same, but the shows are more few and far in between. TikTok, you can do it again the next day and the next day, and run into a brand new audience. you know,
Yeah.
and get your music out to new people, create opportunity.
Yeah. And nobody's sitting in the room with you. Like when you were in prison, that was one of the hard parts about being getting used to like, okay, I'm
That
gonna do this by
energy wasn't
myself.
there.
Well, not only the energy wasn't there to bring up like the energy in the room, like it took me a while to like reinforce the idea of like nobody's here but me and this camera. They can see me, but like I can fuck up. Nobody's here to like hold me accountable for bad rhymes or anything. The people that are watching, it's like I could shut that sucker off anytime. And keeping that in mind of like this really isn't a big deal. I'm standing in a room by myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird because there's like a paradox. People are watching you, but really you are by yourself and you can shut it off. And tomorrow they probably forgot it.
I know. It's the fucking, it's the craziest time right now. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love being involved in it. I love that I got involved in it.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to be, it's a special thing to be part of. You know, I feel really blessed right now
Yeah.
with my life. I spent some time with some people here recently, and it really made me reflect on what I'm doing in my life to be like appreciative. Because some days, like a lot of days here recently, I've just been really tired, you know, and I'm like, fuck, it'd be nice to just take a day off, but I don't necessarily want to, you know what I mean? But it made that time spent with those people made me really reflect on my life and be like, God, I'm glad I get up and do the things I'm doing. And as I sit here and talk about it with you, it makes me happy that I have purpose.
It's hard for
know
us
what
to
I mean?
stop.
That I know I can't
It's
stop.
hard to
I won't.
take a day off
It's
ever,
like
dude.
it's like at the point it went from being like I was deciding not to stop to now it's just like momentum carrying me through, you know, and knowing that it's at the fingertips. You just got to seize it, you know. Something's around the corner. We just got to make it happen. You know
Well, and
what
it's
I mean?
like, what would you do if your last day, if today was your last day, what would be the things that you would like to do? Like for me, I actually really enjoy getting on TikTok, freestyling, kicking some rhymes with my brother, hanging out with you. Like the only other thing I'd do different is probably go for a walk with all the people I love. You know, but like I love what I'm fucking doing, even though some days it's hard to just press fucking start on that live.
Sometimes
dude.
for us, it's hard. It's not hard to push start. It's hard to be like, fucking get up from sipping tea and be like, all right, let's put it together and get going.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, once stand up and get moving, then it's easy for me.
When those gifts come in too, it change and make your energy can so
As soon as you
easily
turn
go.
it,
up.
I know. As soon as you turn it on, someone's gonna pop in and throw some hearts. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, cool.
Here
let's
we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Then you get a little cat, or maybe you get a dinosaur. You're like, oh, let's go! It just turns you on immediately,
It
dude.
does, dude. It really, really does.
Dude, there's been this freaking this conversation going on the internet here lately about they ran a poll on this, but which is where this stems from, but. They're talking about if you got locked in like a 10 by 10 room with any animal, infinite amounts of animals.
Oh, I've heard this.
What animal do you think, just hands and
Like
fists?
king of the mat.
You got your boxers on, that's it. How far up in the animal scale do you think you could beat up in a room, a 10 by 10 concrete room, only one of you leaves? Can you pull up animals? I would like, because I have a hard time thinking about animals, like of like how far you can go. Up,
I know. Okay, so
but let me say this real fast.
people think
There
they
are
could
a
take.
giant list of men that think they can kill a grizzly bear with their bare hands. There's a giant list of people that think there's like 6% of people that thought they could kill a mountain lion with their bare hands.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like mountain lion, bear, tiger.
Even chimps.
and-
There's no way you're beating a chimp up,
Fuck
dude.
no. Mountain lion, chimp, alligator, crocodile, chimps, gorillas.
None of those are
You're not getting that.
Bo
You get
Nickel.
killed. You get killed.
Bo Nickel is convinced.
I feel like a honey badger would get you.
Yeah. Wolverine probably.
Wolverine probably get you.
Anything that fights with the snake.
If you don't got it, yes, and if you don't have
A
shoes
wolf,
on,
a wolf will get you. I think I could get a small wolf, maybe
your baby wolf.
a small wolf.
Nah,
Because they have
there's
different.
no way you
like
would beat
Canadian. They have like Canadian.
There's
wolves.
no way you
Maybe
kill
I
a
could take-
fucking wolf.
If I
with
could
your
get a
bare
wolf,
hands,
if
dude.
I could get his back,
You're insane. How are you
that-
gonna get its back?
that initial confrontation.
If you don't knock that sucker out in the very first punch, you're losing it.
I'm not exposing my forearms.
If you got
and
no
hands.
shoes on, you're not kicking him in the face. He's just gonna snap that foot
Well,
right
that's
off.
a condition of circumstance with how we're going to put this fight together with this wolf.
You got to get shoes,
Maybe, I don't know. Do I get shoes? Do I get gloves? Do I get a fucking hammer? I don't know. But I feel like if it was one of the small wolves,
bro. You're crazy.
If I could
You're
get,
crazy.
if I could get, even if I could get the big wolves back,
Aryan-
if I could get the mountain lions back, I could do the same thing. Those mountain lions
Dude,
probably
you're
a
out
little
of
more
your
agile.
fucking
Though.
mind.
But the
The
little
great-
wolf,
one of the greatest hunters in the world,
You brought
you're-
it up. Let me finish. All right, the little wolf though, if I can avoid that fucking initial confrontation, wrangle around to the side, spin around, take us back,
You are insane.
throw some hooks in, dude. I think I could put him out.
You're out of your mind. You
Because
think
I
you
could cinch it up pretty
So
quick.
let me ask you this: so the out of the
Don't think so?
greatest hunters in the world, you got like tigers, lions, mountain lions,
lions,
You think
tigers,
you're-
and bears. Oh my!
You think you, as this just regular guy that's had some street fights,
I
is
can
going to
get
take
it
out
if-
a thing that kills
Shut up.
every damn day of its life? This is what it does: chase big animals down, jump on its back, snap its neck, and eat it alive. You think you're gonna jump behind it and put it in a sleeper choke and put it to sleep?
I'm not necessarily saying I am, but if I can avoid that initial confrontation and take its back,
If my grandma had a
I
dick, she'd
could
be a
choke-
man.
I could choke it out. That's all I'm saying. A small
Yeah,
wolf.
yeah. If you get to start behind it and it's chained up and it can't move, and then you say go, yeah,
I'm
you could probably get
riding
it.
like a cowboy.
You're supposed to say
8
go in
seconds.
karate.
8 seconds, baby.
Dude, oh my gosh. I
I don't know where do I stop at? Armadillo.
What
What about a
That's what
snake?
I'm wondering. Where's the middle point on a list
Where's
of
the
like
list
animals?
of like where's what's
a monkey? A monkey could be close. I feel like just a small little monkey. You might be at a real fight in that.
Fuck a monkey up.
I don't know, man.
Squash a monkey.
Bo Nickel is convinced that he could beat a fucking chimp in a fight, and I'm like,
Wrong.
I love you, Bo,
Dude,
but
the
there's
chimp,
not a chance.
I feel like the I would rather take on the fucking the small wolf
Than a monkey.
and the fucking mountain lion than a monkey. Fuck yeah, dude. That monkey's strong. That monkey break you in half, dude. That monkey's so strong.
I'm
He's-
afraid of my cat on certain.
Cats are.
Yeah,
Cats
dude.
are fucking
No,
wild,
seriously, they're
dude.
ferocious.
What was it? I heard something about cats. House cats are like the strongest pound for pound felines or some shit.
Really?
Yeah, they're like the most agile or strongest, or I can't remember what it was.
There's a giant-
You might have to check.
There's a giant debate going on between who wins out of these three animals: a gorilla, a tiger, and a grizzly bear. It's like 1-on-1. Which one of these animals? I'll let you say what you think first.
You know, some fucking rich sheik's got those bastards chained up in the basement.
Ready
And
to go to war.
They're running the fucking polls right now, dude. I guarantee someone already did it. Someone already put those two animals in a fucking room together and said, "Let's get it on, baby."
So John Danaher, do you know who that is?
Nope.
He's like the most world-renowned, best jiu-jitsu coach. So Gordon Ryan, you know Gordon
Whoa,
Ryan?
this guy's better than the Gracies.
So as far as teaching wise, they say that the best jiu-jitsu guy in the world by far, there's not even a close second, is Gordon Ryan.
Yep.
He was trained under him. George St. Pierre is trained under him. There's a guy that does gi. No one can beat him. Again, he trains with Gordon too. Gordon does no gi. I can't think of the other guy's name. Anyway, they all train under this guy. Everybody that goes to this guy's practice, everybody from all MMA fighters to jiu-jitsu guys are like, I can't even understand how the blue belts are tapping out black belts. They don't give you belts for no reason. So he's also he used to be a philosopher. He's been on Joe Rogan. He was like, he taught philosophy in school. He ended up just falling in love with jiu-jitsu.
Victor Hugo?
No, it's Vinny Magalesh, I think. Vinny Magalesh, I think is his name. The no-gi guy. But so he went from philosophy into just like teaching jiu-jitsu. He broke down the bear versus the tiger versus the grizzly bear, the gorilla, and the tiger. I at first was like, man, it'd be pretty hard to beat a gorilla. And then I heard his logic. He's like, they don't really kill things. Like they're not running around, every day hunting and taking out other animals. Like tigers that are pretty much the world's like leading killer in anything. Like even more than lions. They're supposed to kill more than by far anything. There's nothing that's their predator. But that when he's like, I don't know why I thought of gorilla at first. In my head, I was like, be fucking hard. Gorillas are strong, break your back. But these these things got claws. Like I think it ends up being between the bear and the tiger. Which one of those would win? You could pretty easily kill a gorilla after I heard his logic. I was like, yeah, he's probably right. They probably get smoked pretty fast. What are they going to bite him with their teeth? That's not their method of like killing stuff. All they got is clubs, 2 clubs. The tiger's got fangs, four hands to really fight with. Like, who do you think would win between a tiger and a bear? Or a grizzly, specifically a grizzly. A polar bear might change that too.
I think I might go with the tiger.
Yeah, I think the tiger maybe in the end. I'd love to see that though, bro. That would be. I know where that's a little like
so inhumane.
It is humane, but God, it would be the greatest TV show of all time, bro. And watch we have like something like a Wolverine be the best fighter ever or something,
Crazy.
Yeah,
dude.
it'd be crazy.
Like the Wolverine up to the pound for pound class, best in the world.
I can't believe you think you could beat a wolf.
Dude, my fucking Chihuahua tiger would fuck up any Chihuahua on the planet. Don't you think?
No, I don't.
You think there's Chihuahuas that can take tiger?
Your Chihuahua just runs around and pisses on shit.
Dude, my
He's
Chihuahua
not
is
ferocious.
the buffest Chihuahua that you've ever seen in your life.
I did find something that said pound for pound, your cat is stronger and faster than a fully grown tiger. Not only that, but domesticated cats exceed the flexibility of any large cat by leagues.
Woo!
Giving them yet another clear advantage.
You were right.
If they were
You
big,
right.
if they were bigger animals, they would fuck them up.
They're
us
such
up,
good
dude.
hunters, dude. They really are.
You
They're
can talk
incredible.
into that. I don't know if you're.
He's got the mic.
Oh, you got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's fucking cats, dude. They really are. Even little, like, he made the point about, if you had, like, his house cat scares him sometimes. Remember the cats that used to live in the garage? Those fuckers were ferocious.
Those guys were mean.
Ferocious.
Shit, dude.
Trying to catch them, dude, was tough. Imagine that, just a small amount times 5. You're not killing that thing.
No, dude, that thing was like a bobcat. Can you imagine that, dude?
Yeah,
Oh my
that'd
God.
that'd be a tougher. I feel like in the bobcat range, you're getting into something that you're probably going 40 to 60%. Thank you so much for dropping that, dude. I'm so glad that you just did that.
You're a dick.
You just farted into the mics.
I don't do it. Hey,
We'll cut it.
fuck it, dude. Fuck it, man. This is real life.
Oh my gosh. Are you watching any of the playoffs right now?
No.
Denver is supposed to win it.
I thought they were losing.
They're down 0-2 to the Timberwolves. That new Michael Jordan guy is just crushing them. 43
Really?
the other day.
Oh,
Last
man.
night they beat them like 110 to 80.
What the fuck? I always like seeing shit like that.
Me too, dude. This kid has
Like watching UConn win the fucking championship twice pissed me off.
pissed me off too.
It really did, dude. I don't want to see that shit. I want to see a new team come in and do good.
We need that in the
Like fucking South Carolina.
yeah.
They played great.
We need that tournament in football so bad it's crazy, bro. Letting 4 teams
They
in.
got a 16 team coming up this year.
I think it's 8, and
8.
that's good. 8 is, you know what? Anything past 8 in football, you're talking about different leagues. But with the NIL deals
If they
now,
go past one, or if they go 16, if they do one more round, right?
with the NIL
16,
deals,
I think is appropriate. Go ahead.
what's that?
I feel like 16 is appropriate.
Yeah, with the new NIL deals, there's the each team isn't there. Like Alabama used to just be able to dominate everybody because everybody went there. They went and got the best players that are all going pro, and they crushed all the other teams. But now with the NIL deals and other people are getting paid to be on smaller schools, it's changed everything. The landscape is completely different. Even Alabama didn't win this last year. Like, now they have great players on small teams. And I really think the problem they have with football is because it's so hard on your body. It's hard to play games back to back. So running a tournament is really hard to do with like 8 teams. You could kind of fit it into the season because you can give them a week to prepare for each other. In basketball, you get 2 days. You know, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit more difficult. There's another thing going around. Out of all the NBA players like all the best players in the NBA. How many players do you think in the NBA you could take one of them and put them in a 16 seed in that tournament and get them to the championship? So, like, imagine you get Michael Jordan and put him on a 16 seed. You think that they could take him to the finals like that?
I bet that
It's an interesting question.
If you take one of those players from their prime, like Michael Jordan in his prime, and you put him on a 16 seed, I bet the level of play between the difference between Michael Jordan in his prime between these college kids,
Yeah.
average dude, is just eons.
Basketball's weird.
I bet he could take them.
Yeah,
I bet
no.
he could take a shitty 16 seed.
There's got to be at least
pretty
10.
fucking far.
There's
dude.
got to be at least 10 players because if you take a dominant guy like
I bet he could take. I bet consistently they're going Elite Eight, Final Four.
fuck like skill players. If you took like Shaq and put him in there,
Oh my
he's
God.
dominating the entire game. No one's
He's gonna
stopping him.
fucking
If you put posts
back
in there,
down, Shaq
there's
down.
at least 10 players that are post players that could probably take a 16 seed all the way to the finals. But if you start getting into skill players, like you could get a Kobe
You
on
take
there.
you take Tracy McGrady, throw him
Yeah.
AI, dude.
Yeah,
but,
AI would be a tough one.
He's only 6 foot, so
Yeah.
that's like who would be a good one?
Yeah, it's
Carl Malone. That'd be a good one.
I don't know about Karl Malone, but you could definitely get like a Kobe on there. You could get for sure an MJ. Current players right now, there's probably at least 10 players too.
You think Curry would make much of a difference?
Yeah, he'd make a giant difference, but I don't think it would
3-pointers
change
all
it
day.
enough.
Would make,
I
I
might
don't know.
be right.
That's a lot of points.
This is the thing about
But
basketball.
this is all hearsay.
This is the thing about basketball and like all other sports. Like you couldn't do this if you looked at it and you took like Tom Brady and put him on a shit ass team in college and tried to get him to the championship. It would never happen. Football and basketball are so much different in that way because football is maybe they've made a case that it's the most requirements of a team sport because there's 11 players. If you have one bad lineman, you're not winning. Someone's breaking through the line every time and sacking your fucking quarterback. The same with like if you don't have good receivers. It's like as a team game, there's a lot of players out there. There's 11 people. In basketball with 5 people, you can really dominate a game with one big. But football requires like Aaron Rodgers makes the case it's like the most like I don't know what the exact word would be, but like it requires the most out of a full team. If you're missing one position, you won't win.
You have to function as a unit.
Yeah, it's like the most team game, which some people love and some people hate. That's what's nice about wrestling.
Yeah,
that it's like you lose if you lose.
Yeah,
and it's not on anybody
I
else.
know.
When you play football, you can fucking blame 6 players every game. You know, on both sides of the ball.
Your dad used to say you're only as good as your weakest player.
And he's right, dude. That is a really good point. I forget he said that, but you're right.
Dad
dude.
used to always say that. You're only as good as your weakest player. Like, fuck you.
We're
Like-
actually seeing Miami in soccer, Inter Miami, kind of what you're describing. When Messi came, except for there's a couple other guys. We got Busquets and Luis Suarez. These 3 players are considered old and can't play, but they are dominating
Together.
MLS.
Yeah.
Nobody on Inter Miami has scored 10 goals in one season. Messi scored 10 goals and 10 assists in 8 games.
Jesus. So, do you think Messi by himself on that team without the other 2 guys could have rose them to win games?
Well, I don't know, but
It's
because
close.
he has those 2
Yeah.
guys, they play off each other, and Miami was last place last year. Now they're top of the show.
Dude, it really is just like Ted Lasso, Zaza. That it really is like that, dude. You got to watch Ted Lasso, dude. He recommended that show to me. It's so good, dude.
What is it?
It's about soccer, but it's like this football or basketball, right?
Football coach.
Football coach comes over to start teaching like a professional soccer team. And
Coaching.
Yeah, he's coaching. He's coaching this team. And they just suck, dude. And he doesn't know what he's doing. And you just watch, they develop these characters so well. You just fall in love with so many different
Is
people.
it a movie or a TV
It's
show?
a TV show.
Okay,
And it's a
go on.
really good series, dude. The whole thing is fantastic. It's so good I won't watch the last episode.
Is it based on true events?
No.
Okay,
No.
never mind. All right, cool.
But it's a good TV show. Like I didn't think I'd be into it because it's soccer. I just never got real into soccer. I loved every episode. I couldn't wait to watch every single one.
What's it on?
Apple.
Yeah. And we're back.
Haha. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Interesting.
Oh, anyways, tell me about that Karl Malone shit.
Oh yeah, you did want to hear about that. It's funny
Tell me
that you
about
haven't even. It's funny you haven't heard this, but in the last few years, it's came out like Karl Malone got a 13-year-old girl pregnant, and I didn't know the backstory of it. That he had nothing.
Disgusting.
He had nothing to do with the child. The NBA swept the entire thing under the rug, and now I can't remember. Is it basketball or football that his son plays in? I can't remember, but his son is a professional and wants nothing to do with him now. But it is kind of crazy that like this big star, they just literally swept this 13-year-old girl getting pregnant under the rug.
I bet that kid takes good care of his mama.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah. That shit makes me think about, I don't know if I should speak on it. I really don't know if I should speak on it, but I I work with a kid that plays ball, college football in town, and he was telling me that there's a bunch of scandalous shit.
I heard about this.
Dude,
Tell it.
A bunch of scandalous shit. I didn't know anything about it, but he played for the team. He quit playing for him. He's going to a different college now. He's playing at a lower level college rather than Division I. But yeah, he was saying that they paying kids under the table. That like 3 players are getting paid like over $100,000 a piece. And
Before the NIL deal.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's what it sounded like. And then also too, they fired their head coach, but I'm a little much. But he
Humpty Dumpty dance.
the fucking coach apparently got fired because he was fucking his secretary, and he got her pregnant. He's got a wife, and he had to move to a different town. Like they swept it, the NCAA swept it under the rug like a bunch of Mormons, dude.
He was a shitty coach, by the way.
I don't know, but all I know is that that's what happened, or that's what he said happened. This kid that played for him said happened. I was like, whoa, dude. He just spilled it out on me. I was like, that's a fucking great story right there.
Yeah. It is crazy in sports how you get this pass for, I mean, God knows how many things I got out of when I was in high school just because they wanted me to play.
They have this. It's almost political.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like how they can get things done. You know, like it's so big. You have this big fucking thing behind you, this giant umbrella protecting you. And when you fuck up like that, you're like as that coach, if that's what happened, that you fuck up like that, and they're like, oh shit, this tarnishes our image.
Yeah.
We got to sweep this under the rug. Don't let this out. Get him out of here. Get him to a different place. And the person he got pregnant is with him in I think he's in Texas now. I think he went to TCU.
Is he still married?
I think he might still be married, and the girl that he got pregnant went down there.
Damn. That's crazy. It's weird how sports has this precedent over like everything, like even the Russians in what's that movie starts with an I about steroids. Do you remember the movie's name? There's Icarus. Thank you. There's a whole like the Russians were cheating.
Icarus flew too close to the sun.
Dickarus, that's who you're talking about. Okay, I'm
I
just kidding with you, dude. It's a reference from the league.
I thought this was another Dolphins thing.
No, it's a reference to the league.
Pringles.
But
Pretzels.
In Icarus, the guys were the wrestlers were all taking this piss test. They'd been giving them steroids since they were fucking basically kids, giving them their vitamins. They didn't even know, from what they say. They were giving them their vitamins. They would piss. When they pissed, they would swap the cups out in the piss place. And every Russian was fucking hot on testosterone and all sorts of different shit. So they're going out there wrestling most people that have nothing in their system and just crushing them. But sports has this precedent of like, people care so much about it, you know. It's like even in school to get away with like some of the bullshit just so you can play in high school. Like in the Olympics, it makes more sense because you get so much being a champion. But in high school, like schools don't get anything crazy just for you playing other than some wins. You know, like for the school, you don't get money or anything. It's like it's weird. People really want their performance of their athletes to even in like college. They don't give a shit about how bad you do in college in most cases. They like put them in communications, let them slide through. The kids in my class that were playing football when I was in like my communications classes, they didn't even show up. There's no way they passed that class, but I guarantee they ended up passing the class, you know? It's crazy. Sport, I don't know what that is, what it is about sports that they let that happen for.
I don't know either. I don't know. It develops some type of imagery that
this is where more people want to go.
Reinforces that in society. Yeah. I don't know why it pierces into that, because it's because its importance is obviously on the hierarchy higher than education.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess so.
It's kind of speaking that into the youth.
Yeah.
By doing because the same thing with me when I had college kids in my college classes, they didn't show up. They definitely weren't fucking gonna pass, but they did on paper.
And the ego on these kids. Like I was in there with like
shit. We were those kids.
I never had that crazy ego like
sports
that.
Gives that to you. It gives you almost a sense of purpose and pride with that.
It definitely does, but there's another layer to it of like these kids walking around campus feeling like that they're the star of the football team, and they get this like super inflated ego where they think they're like better than everybody because they're playing sports. It's a really weird, and it's not just like confidence from knowing how to compete and being good at what you're doing. It's like this arrogance over the top, like I don't know. It's just, it's weird to watch,
It's a misplaced arrogance too, and it's a really big. Most people don't stay even you may make it to a college level, but people don't make it to pros, and everybody doesn't stay participating in athletics forever. It's a lot of people's claim to fame, and it's a big shot to a lot of people's ego, no matter what level they end at.
Yeah.
To fucking be like, this isn't my identity. This
Yeah.
isn't who I am, but I've thought it was for so long.
That's what a good coach will do.
It fucks you up to when you get done to know, oh shit, I have to go another direction and pivot and go into that change that we were talking about earlier, and find out who you really are. Some people go into drugs and alcohol and sex and fucking.
That's what a good coach will do,
whatever.
though. When you look at that's why I really like Dion when he went to Colorado. He's like, most of these kids aren't going pro. I'm creating men, and like Coach Crum had that effect on me of like really trying to teach you how to be accountable again, and take sports and use it as an opportunity to learn how to lose well, learn how to win well, learn how to play well with the team. These little mini games that are going on. It's not about like, oh yeah, just crushing somebody. It's about raising the consciousness inside of you, making your spirit a better person. And like Dion does that so well for like when I watch him he really does like raise men. And I love that. As much hate as he gets, but a good coach will do that. Like use any medium, sports being theirs, to like grow men into better people, like sports has that effect if there's a good coach. But if you're a bad coach, like you look at like in Boise State when I don't know if you remember Titus Young. I
know who he is.
He was a stud receiver, but he was always in trouble. In Boise, they kept sweeping it under the rug. He went pro and played for Detroit. They impounded his car when he was playing for the Lions. The guy jumped the fucking fence, broke his car out, and they never saw him play another game in the NFL. It's like it didn't teach him to be like what he needed to be to handle the world.
And
like
in the NFL, they're like, you're not the fucking.
He was good too.
You're not the cream of the crop. You're fucking done, bud.
Yeah.
But you're right too. That sports should be that medium to fucking. It's not about the sport because most people aren't going to go pro. It should be about developing the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kids and coaches that can see that and navigate that bridge of a transition are really special coaches.
Yeah, there's certain sports too that really are like, I guess,
And people and when people recognize that too, like when athletes recognize that role of growing into leadership, and cooperating with your teammates, and then transitioning that into society.
Yeah.
And how you work with others too.
Yep.
And what kind of role you take as a leader as well.
Right.
In other forms of your life. It
Right.
all transitions. That's what sports should be.
Yeah.
And perseverance. We want like shit like wrestling. One-on-one type sports.
Yeah.
And determination and fucking tenacity. Being
Yeah.
able to persevere through hard times. Sports are great for things like that, but they also can get confused into that ego shit.
Well,
that
and
you
you
were
can look
talking
at this
about earlier.
Like if you look at someone like Michael Jordan, if you see the way that he lives his life as a human being, you might look at what sports did to him as like turning him into a fucking asshole. But he was the best. But then you might look at somebody who's like learned to play with the team that was like the sixth man off the bench that's living this quality of life that you wouldn't trade the billions that Michael Jordan has. Like the money means nothing as far as the quality of experience that this guy learned through sports just by learning to cooperate with the team, being able to just be a genuinely good human being. He's living a better life than this guy that's addicted to gambling, always drinking, having a hard time in general with human relations, but he was the best player that ever existed.
Yeah.
You might, it's hard to judge those two things, because a lot of people be like, I'd love to be Michael Jordan, but if you felt the life on his daily basis, you might be like, that sixth man's got it better, That's a really interesting like paradox in those two things go ahead.
It just doesn't transition into life,
Exactly.
But it does transition into life because Jordan was great because he was kind of crazy from what all the stories are. I mean, people can look into it however much they want, but it transitioned into his life and it fucking ruined his relationships.
Yeah.
He ruined his relationships.
Yeah.
Because of the way he is.
Yeah.
And but the way he is made him who he was on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the court's done.
Yeah.
The court won't last forever.
Yeah.
But that was more important to him, you know.
Yeah.
He probably didn't, nobody would have the foresight to see what would happen. And they probably wouldn't choose. I mean, people would choose to be the greatest.
You think so?
Oh, fuck yeah, guaranteed. People
Yeah.
would say, fuck it, I want to be the greatest, fuck what happens later.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't, obviously, he wouldn't have that foresight. And I wouldn't imagine that he would have chose that. But, I mean, he is who he is because of that same type of personality, you know?
Yeah, the quality of your experience is such an interesting thing to like look at, because I'll talk to like friends that have done motocross, or let's use like Travis Pastrana. That's like the highest one, right? Of like this person has hurt himself so much, injured, walking around, having a really hard time functioning as a man.
Is he fucked up?
Yeah, dude, he's broke like fucking 119 bones or something.
Whoa,
like
dude.
crazy amount.
How
Crazy.
many we
amount.
got?
I think he's
126?
broke almost every bone.
Do we
in
have
his
like
body.
126?
I don't know how many bones
How
we
many
have.
do we
but,
have, Fletch?
But my point being to the statement, and I look at this also with fighters and NFL players, like what mattered to them in their life, and life is so short, was that just going hard at something, like throwing backflips and landing them, that meant more to them in life than just like living an average life. So that short span of the time that they could live extreme and burn candles at both ends, they wouldn't trade that for the fucking world to be an average person through life and still be functioning. You know, the intensity of the moment that they're living, and they loved it so much that like that was their best part of their life, even though they're going to go through the rest of their life hurting. That's a hard trade-off to make.
Yeah.
You know, it really
It's
is.
it's almost like fucking one of those stories, one of those like Disney movies where they're like, we'll give you this, but you have to give me this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like the trade-off type situation where you can have fame and power or, you know, whatever, but it's going to cost you your lifespan.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you're like, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
But you don't die immediately. You have to live in turmoil
Yeah, yeah.
for quite a while. How many?
206 to 213. Now that's a weird answer.
206.
Oh,
What?
some people have. Dude, have you heard this? Like Dan Pena has like, they call it the Neanderthal rib. There's like some people have this
Have an extra rib. I've heard about it.
and they're all, dude. All the people that have it are extremely like hard people, dude.
Whoa,
And
really?
digits can vary from person to person.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
weird.
Extra fingers and shit.
No, and I think the number in between, like
Oh, the
maybe
bones.
something. I'm not quite
Interesting.
sure, yeah.
That's a really interesting answer. But it's weird with the extra bone that like. Like I think
It's a
Joe
certain
Rogan, I think Joe
personality.
actually might have one
Personality.
too. Yeah, like their personality
I wonder
is.
if I got one.
They call it the Neanderthal or Neanderthal bone, but it's like these people are always hardcore fucking people, dude.
Wonder if Dad's got
Dan
one.
Pena is one of the most hard fucking people I've ever seen in my life, dude.
Yeah, I don't pay much attention to Dan like you do.
It's been a long time since I really dove deep into it, but I mean I always enjoyed the perspective of making a lot of money, like flipping businesses and stuff. I always like listening to him, but I also like listening to him because he's always every clip you listen to him, he's such a hard guy. He's a dickhead. It's hilarious to watch. I like to try to mix my life between like Matthew Kahn and like Dan Pena, like right in the middle. You know, I see a nice path of like being kind but not being afraid to be strong, you know?
Yeah.
Not being a pussy because you are a pussy, but being dangerous but not having to, but like you could be dangerous but you're choosing not to be. You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah.
A lot more than just
Like,
being a
that's
dickhead.
Through strength, learn gentleness.
Quiet strength.
Yeah.
It's a saying. It's like through strength, learn gentleness. Through gentleness, strength will prevail. Yeah.
I feel like that's from Street Fighter, huh?
I feel like you're right.
I think it was from Street Fighter, and I think they stole that right out of the Tao.
Do you think they did? Because
I
I've
think
never
so.
read
I
it
mean,
in the
they
Tao.
should.
But I love that saying. It
Yeah.
should be. It's fucking epic, dude. That shit's classic.
That scene when it's like, what do you see beyond your fist in the animation? I got goosebumps thinking about it, dude.
My
That
fate.
is such a good scene, bro. Not that many people saw the Street Fighter animation. I don't know which one it was, but dude,
The Street Fighter 2 animated.
Was it Street- dude, that
Street
was
Fighter
such
2
a good
animated
movie,
movie.
man.
It came out like 1990 or 92.
yeah, just seeing like Ryu walking through the streets, being like this really tough
Wandering
guy,
dude,
but
this
so
wandering
compassionate.
fucking wisdom this guy of wisdom, the strength, exactly what you just described in terms of like a person that has those attributes, you know? It's like those guys. That's the difference between our era and what's going on now. We had characters like that to, you know, look up to and admire.
Yeah.
You know, for me, because I was so into cartoons and anime. And now I don't see that. Like,
It really gave you something to look up
Kids
to.
have fucking lost that now, dude.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like society has. It's like that old tale of like each generation's just like, oh, they're so soft now, and they you know they are, and that's one of the things that I see is they don't have anything to admire that's really admirable.
Yeah,
You know?
that pendulum swings so hard too, because like the softness in kids is like a beautiful thing. As far as they didn't have to be hard, there was no reason for them to be. They grew up in a time that's like much softer, and that, you know, that has its own repercussions as well.
Yeah.
But that hardness too, when I look at like our parents and all the people around that age, they grew up so hard, their emotions were closed off, so they didn't develop the most important thing is a good relationship with their internal world.
Yeah.
And so they're really strong. They could fuck people up, but inside they're struggling constantly.
I think
it swung back the other way too, of where like these kids don't know struggle, and so not knowing struggle has made them weak in almost a proportionate way internally, but they're at least a little bit kinder in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that what's something that is to be said about that reoccurring cycle in history of, because what that is, you know, the saying of like, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but I'm sure a lot of people have heard it, of like, strong men create good times.
Dude, Joe Rogan always talks about this.
Strong men create good times. Good times create like weak men. Weak men create bad times.
Yeah.
The cycle continues, and that's what you're referring to.
Yep.
In its own sense, I think that they're during that process of a swinging back to strong men creating good times. There has to be like the struggle of internal has to take place, and the pivot needs to take place. A change needs to happen of society, and like to break this boundary that civilization keeps hitting.
And every civilization hits it.
We always keep hitting it, and civilizations keep breaking down when they get to this peak.
Yep.
Something needs to happen to where they can fucking go internally to win that struggle within, when they're shifting things back to a good time. Things are good. Things are nice. The world's great. We have it at our fingertips. Let's make it. You know, things may not be hard for the kids, but let's do something to really propel our society into harmony and happiness. You know,
there's a marker.
everlasting peace on earth, dude.
There's a marker.
What the fuck are we talking about here? Go ahead.
There's a marker that marks like in civilizations they've found of when a civilization is about to crumble. Do you know what it is?
I don't want to say, but go ahead.
When genders start pretending to be each other.
I knew it, dude.
When the women start acting
Rome, that's
when
what
women when women start acting like men and men start acting like women, the beauty of a man is to uphold the masculine inside, and the beauty of a woman is to be in the feminine and the creative proportions, creative, right? And so when the women starts trying to act like a man, it throws them off balance, and men start acting like women, it throws them off balance. That's not to say that some men naturally have feminine tendencies, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, that's to be embraced. But when you start confusing it and thinking you should have been something else, that life fucked up in the way you're born, things get real crazy, and civilization starts. They've like tracked this down when they start trying to imitate each other. Like, men and women are naturally just very different people. They're different on purpose. It's like they're not supposed to be equal. They're supposed to be different, unique. You know, that's unique isn't like equal. They're different. They should be embracing who they are.
I would
Go
argue
ahead.
that they're equal, but they are unique.
Right.
They're clearly equal, but they're clearly unique too.
You said that those, to me, they don't correlate, because an apple and an orange, yeah, they're equal and they're a fruit, but they're different. They're supposed to be different things.
Yeah, they are equal.
Yeah, but they're not. But they're different.
Yeah, they are different.
No, what I mean is when you say they're unique, that means they're impossibly compared. You can't compare them because they're too far apart. So they're not equal. They're different.
They are equal.
They're different.
They're equal.
Sure. You're misunderstanding, I think, what I'm saying, but
That's okay.
Yeah, but regardless, that's an interesting point that like that is this is what they're saying now, is this like trigger point of when they start trying to be each other instead of be themselves. That's like, it's weird that a civilization that would mark the downfall of a civilization.
Yeah, Rome had the same type of shit happening. That chiropractor that you met a long time ago, he was the one that told me about that. And I think, the similar things are happening now that happened in Rome when it comes to sexuality in the world, not just America, but then also too what's happening economically when we're inflating our currencies like we are. Like Rome did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Fucking blew up.
Yeah.
I would say America's definitely on its last leg.
Yeah, it's.
I think what's going to come here in the next 20 years is going to be fucking. It's going to blow people's minds.
There's definitely a bubble that's been waiting to burst for a long time.
Oh God, they're not going to be able to stop this wave that's on its way, dude. It's just going to be so massive. It's going to tear a fucking hole in everyone's ass.
It's weird that it's lasted this long because since 2007,
that's what's caused the problem. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can tell you want to say
something.
something.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
But that's what's caused the problem is pushing it down. Just push it down, held it back, and now it's like this recoil of a fucking spring, or a pull back of a rubber band. It's just going to hit harder. So
it's just weird that since 2007 I've been hearing that shit. Like it's going to happen this year. It's going to happen this year. It's like 2024, and it's getting worse and worse. It definitely is getting worse and worse. And it seems like I was just talking to Carly about this. It seems like every civilization has gone through this point of like. The people in control have found a way to hyperinflate currencies, take all the hyperinflation to themselves, invest and own everything, and leave the rest of the people to fucking die over and over and over. Like if you can print the money, you just backdoor it and you got it all. You buy all the stuff. You have all the wealth, all the power, and that civilization dies, and the same people do the same thing to someone else, whether it's war, whether it's hyperinflation. It's like constant, and it happens every time. But I feel like we might be in the only age where information is more readily available, where people are becoming aware of it and getting their hands into the places where they might not be crushed as much. And I feel like we're at a precipice where a different change might have the possibility of flowering. Even though we're going to watch that cycle take place, I feel like it might be learned from more because they didn't have information as readily as we do right now. There's a lot of, I feel like that's part of the reason they want to ban things like TikTok. It's like that information exists.
Yeah.
And it didn't before. The internet changed everything.
It definitely presented something special. I think each one of those cycles presents its own a new opportunity. Whenever those old cycles happened and whatever the fuck happened to those fallen civilizations, they had an opportunity to break through, to live prosperously through time.
Yeah.
And we have that same opportunity right now in our civilization, and each time that occurs, that opportunity becomes present. But each one presents unique opportunities too.
Yeah, it's true.
And unique circumstances around it. So maybe the internet's one of them for us. Yeah. I don't know. But you know what? All I know is we have opportunities as civilization to really live a really, really harmonious way in the world. We just got to fucking take it upon ourselves one day at a time. And that's what we do. That's why we're doing what we do in a podcast. I think that's why a lot of people run podcasts. That's why I make music. I don't, you have your own specific reasons for doing what you do, but to make things better, to make the world a better place, and to raise people up and maybe fucking help punch consciousness through that hole. You know,
I can't imagine too. I don't know whether being here means I chose to be here. I don't know if being here means I was chosen to be here or random. I can't either way. The fact that I'm here. When I look at it, I'm like, I wouldn't have chose to exist in a time that would have been something detrimental to myself. No matter what that means, whether it's valuable for me to be here at this crazy ass time. So I really can't imagine just being like, oh yeah, I showed up here to be a part of something extremely ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to me internally, it's always felt that way. Of like, this is a very special time to me. Just to be alive. So whatever it is, I feel like you just said, taking part and doing your best to be transparent internally so you can be of service to people and yourself and grow as much as possible and contribute as much love as possible. I feel like that's important and like the reason of being here, but I feel like it's tipping scales in some way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how long it will take. I don't know.
I think things like that have impact in, if not your own life, then other people's lives too.
Yeah.
To be creative and fucking live your life in a passionate way, but also to inspire other people
Yeah.
to do the same.
That's
You
why I
know
was
what I mean?
yeah.
And it's just kind of like that whole passing the torch thing, lighting a fire, you know?
Yeah.
And letting it burn. See
Honestly,
how
that's
far it
why
can
I was.
spread.
Honestly, that's why I was surprised that it took the music so long to take off. Because I'm like, I feel like this is a good contributing thing. You know, it always felt like, oh man, this is what I love doing. I feel like it should like have a little bit of an ember and start like moving. So it's nice for it to start happening. Because I'm like, our music is touching people in a way, not trying to get any egotistical place of it. But so many people have sent us messages about. I mean, I could probably put together a list of 100 people saying it prevented them from committing suicide, whether they would have done it or not. But little things like that, dude, they make such a giant difference. Even to us, we're just making music, but to them, we're making it from an authentic place. But it's touching them in a way. Getting on the lives, people say all the time, you know, like, I needed this so bad today, and I don't even know what it is. It's just us having fun, you know.
Yeah, the cream will rise to the top, and I think we were just in a market that was overcrowded. It takes time to fucking sift through shit. You know, we're two white dudes in a marketplace that is, I don't. It's the weakest one. You know, it's probably the weakest marketplace in all of the states. If you had-
Idaho?
Yeah,
You mean
just Idaho and the Northwest. You know, just being in the place we're at, it's just there's not a lot to work with. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And being white,
Yeah,
I
that
think
doesn't
that
help.
has something to do with it somewhere along the way. But you know, but there's a lot of rappers, and a lot of music to listen to. So it takes a lot to punch through and get your name heard. You know, and make a to separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's really difficult to do, and TikTok gives you that avenue, though.
That's what I
You
tell
know,
people all the time.
Online, the Reels do the same thing. Instagram, I think Instagram's fairly close in terms of being able to provide that to their audience. You know?
That's what I tell people all the time. Of like, for us, if we capture 1% of the world, that 1% of those people that care is really all you need. 99% of the world can fucking hate everything you do, but that 1% is enough for not only you to live off, but to make a very big
What's
impact.
1% of the world? 300 million?
It's probably like 700 million.
Isn't there
There's
like
like
7?
7
There's like
billion.
7 or 8 billion. I think it hit 8 billion just recently.
Maybe it's 70 million. I don't know. I'm not.
8
I don't know.
billion.
I don't care about the math. The percentages is
I think it's going to be like fucking like 800 billion. 800 billion. Yeah.
I'm not sure what 1% of 7 billion is.
78 million people.
78 million people. So
78 billion.
Million
78 million is 1%.
of the world's
All
population.
right.
So my point being though is like,
So what's 1% of 78 million? Go ahead. Tell me your
Jesus
point. Fuck
Christ,
it.
buddy.
Get out of here.
You're really
Get the-
taking this
Get
into
the fuck
You're
out
really
of here.
taking this into math, dude. That's not the point. Is not about math.
All right.
The point I'm trying to make is, if you want to make a career, all you need is 1% of the fucking of just the little group, and those people caring about you is not only enough for you to live off of, it's enough to make a positive impact on them. And it's a lot of people. Everybody can hate you. The comments can be completely negative, but you have 1% of people that care about you, and that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, even you could really break that down to 0.1% of that 1%.
That's
and
what
you're
I was going to
still
do.
doing
It's
well.
7,800,000, and that means if you have that big of a following, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
If I pop on fucking social media, 7 million, I'm like, oh, this guy's smoking.
So really, thank you to everybody that supports us. I really just want to say thank you, because you guys are changing our lives. We appreciate the shit out of you guys.
What?
It has literally affected us in the most positive way. So thank you guys for everybody that throws gifts, buys our merch, buys our CDs, listens to the music.
The podcast.
Fucking thank you.
The podcast.
The podcast. I hope it provides something good for your life, but thank you guys. We appreciate that. I think that's a good point to wrap it up.
I
on.
feel like that's a segue to the end.
Dun, 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 dun.
Have you hit the end of the road
but
for the week?
Catch us at we're doing our album release July 27th at the Reef in Boise. Catch a flight, come see us. It's going to be a badass show. My new album's amazing. And what were we going to say?
What other shows are we playing? I know we got
Connection Music Festival.
But that's the 28th of June through the 30th.
Yep, we're playing on Friday
Friday.
at
Probably
6
the
o'clock.
28th.
Yep.
All right. We're going to be there. We're doing a show in Twin in June or
And
July.
August. I don't know the dates.
July and August, we're doing shows
Comic-Con.
in Twin. Okay, we're like a Comic-Con and then
Yeah.
one at the mall or something. What
they won't
else?
be able to catch us in
And
Mexico.
then we might be doing one to Mexico. We talked about that.
We just got to get your passport, and we're good on
and
that.
then, yeah, so that's what we got on the books right now for shows.
Yeah.
We'll take it in stride. We're going to do the podcast next week. This is number 2 of Freedom Renegade Radio.
Number 2.
Motherfuckers don't even know. I don't even think we were cussing that much. Huh?
There was the video that you guys put out about the questions. Did you write down any of the questions that were put in there?
Oh, fuck.
What are you talking
You know
about?
what?
And it doesn't, we can do it after.
Shit!
What are you talking about?
I asked people to fucking give us questions to answer on the podcast.
Well, let's do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I'll
we
pull
can-
it up.
we can cut 'em in, whatever.
Ah,
Pull it
damn
up-
it.
pull it up
Remind me
on-
next time to
pull
put
it
those
up
in there.
on
We'll
one-
do it right now. Still
Yeah,
too.
let's pull it up on one of these phones or something.
Are you okay losing your audio? Because it's on my phone.
Who's?
Oh, wait,
let's flip a
what's-
coin.
Is it over? Or what's going on?
No, I can just pull up the questions. Oh, you can pull them up.
pull 'em up,
Oh,
pull 'em
nice. Nice. He can pull them up on TikTok.
Perfect.
That's why we got Funk Master
That's
Flex.
why we
Let's
got
go.
Funk Matt to fucking
Oh,
flex.
shit. I forgot we did that.
Come on, bitch. Come
go.
on, bitch. Gotcha. Gotcha,
That's
bud.
While he's finding those, who do you think?
Bro, One Piece, though.
Oh, yeah? When you listen to the Kendrick and Kendrick and Drake,
Man, I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck about it.
it's when you compare him to Ether and compare him to Hit 'Em Up, they just don't hit right. Although Kendrick has some
It
good
feels
shit.
like they're holding back a little bit to make more. Because
Well, hopefully they don't kill
You
each
just
other.
told me yesterday one of those songs went number 1.
Yep.
Number 1 out of the charts, right?
Yep.
Number 1.
Ready for some questions?
Yeah. Yes, let's
big
hit the
money.
questions.
Hit me with
You
the
got the mic?
questions. Let's go.
Okay, Bronx Crypto asks, what age are you guys? Did you guys begin rapping? When did you realize you guys had this talent? And what is your goal for your career together?
The typical questions. I love it. Go ahead.
No, okay.
All right. I started rapping when I was like 18. What was it? When did I rap and what?
When did you realize you had a talent for this?
I knew I could was musically inclined for rhythm and things like rap. Not with like instruments ever, but from a young age I knew I could rap because I just could feel it.
Yeah, I wrote my first song in 7th grade, and I really like that song still today. I remember the lyrics and everything. It was a pretty decent song. I'm surprised when I look back at where I was in my life, how conscious the lyrics actually were. But I wrote my first song in 7th grade, but I loved hip hop since I was like in 1st grade. I started listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five on Encarta. And then that led me down a whole path of just loving hip hop. I loved that there was no censorship. That shit. I love hearing people cuss. Still to this day, people that cuss, I trust them more than people that don't. Even my relatives that don't cuss, it drives me nuts. But let's see. We used to actually I would take the albums and just listen to them and rap the lyrics to my posters on the wall when I was a kid. And there was just something about hip hop that always called me. And then when I turned 18, I was going to school, hated going to school. It just wasn't my favorite thing. And when I was 19, I was like, oh, nah, maybe 20. I was like, I'm dropping out. I'm going to start making music. And that kind of led us to where we are today.
Boom, bitch.
Okay, Kim Possible wants to know, at your shows, do you guys do freestyles as well? Or is it all original music?
If I fuck up.